Welcome back to the 2011 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Andy McNamara alongside Chuck Bainbridge. Thank you so much for joining us. After one half of play, we are all tied up at 5. Canada playing in the double red and white. USA in the traditional red, white, and blue. Canada with possession. We are at even strength here. As the Canadians kick it back. Sidearm through the screen past Schiller. Henhock can't see it. And Chaka, not to pick on Captain Chris Schiller, he's a tremendous player, but that is the third goal that he has been partly responsible for as we take a peek.
I agree. Pass down to Jordan Hall. Nice move. Colin Doyle comes over, sets the pick. Reese Dutch, one of the best shooters in the game. One-on-one, you're right. Schiller has been burned a few times, but, great players make great shots, and that was just Reese Dutch picking a corner.
Yeah, excellent point. And Reese Dutch, his second goal of the game, 9th of the tourney. Other lead U.S. players, Casey Powell at 7th. He did not play versus the Australians. He has 18 points total. U.S. trying to come right back. A low-scoring affair. First few minutes were like kind of a heavyweight boxing match, just feeling each other out. A couple jabs here and there, and now we see things starting to bust open. Casey Powell makes a juke, forced back out. Double team, shoved from behind was Roy Smith.
Yep, Paul Rabel. Rory Smith, they've been actually battling all game here, but you just cannot turn over the ball with those illegal picks.
Rory Smith of the Minnesota Swarm in the NLL, Rabel of the Stealth. Faced the Toronto Rock in this year's final, as in 2010. Grant Jr. scores! Grant Jr. with the hat trick. And Chaka, one of the big factors with John Grant Jr. is he takes a shot when you don't think he will. It's almost nonchalant.
Yep, it was... I hate to say it again, too. Captain USA there gets... John takes a step. You're right. It's almost like he's still running and cradling with the ball, but he fires it. And Hennock there, old teammate of John Grant Jr., he should know to be ready at all times when John has the ball there.
Well, we have a goaltender change. Eric Miller coming back in to the game. Are they saying, well, Miller running back because he thought play was back underway, but John Grant Jr. with the goal, beating Schiller, as well as Matt Zash. There's going to be some sort of explanation here.
This is kind of getting back to what I said in the first half, though, Andy. The U.S. really have to get loose balls. If they are going to have a chance in this game, they have got to control the face-off circle, and they haven't. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would hazard to say that they've won maybe, 10, 15, 20% maximum of those face-offs.
Well, as Eric Miller gets back in, he is ranked 11th in the tournament, 77 save percentage, 13 goals on 43 saves. And ducking underneath. Good job by Ryan Hodling, breaking through the Canadian defense.
Yeah, and that's exactly what USA needs. They need possessions. They need to cut this back down to a one-goal game.
There's Mundorf. Brendan Mundorf.
Hotel in there kind of limps off the floor. That's not going to be a good sign. That's their main face-off guy for the U.S.
Good point. Casey Powell, so dangerous. To make a comeback on his own, going near side, hugging the post is Vince. Shot clock does expire. Brendan Mundorf plays for the Philadelphia Wings in the NLL, a Major League Lacrosse player also. Another dangerous weapon for this United States squad. Speaking of dangerous, the always John Grant Jr. and Miller sitting on that.
Yeah, Reese Dutch firing for that same 5-hole, but Miller closes his legs this time.
Here's Paul Rabel starting up the floor. Gives to Langtree. And Westerveld has had a quiet game. Had 4 against Australia.
Yeah, the U.S. need Paul Rabel and Drew Westerveld to pick up their games a little bit here. Not that they're having bad games, they just need them to get on the score sheet.
Well, and Rabel ducking underneath and took a shot as the shot clock was going down. Canada will get it on a fresh 30. Jeff Zawicki has it here. Reese Dutch and John Grant Jr. coming to the floor. Captain Colin Doyle, who has been held silent thus far. Canada being forced back. in the high slot. A little one-touch attempt for Zawicki, goes for naught. Reese Dutch picks it up left side. Jordan Hall.
And Andy, I hate to harp on this, but I really feel if you saw Steph LeBlanc in this game, Colin Doyle would probably have about 5 assists to Steph LeBlanc's 5 goals by now. But again, I mean, I'm sure there was reason behind the decisions that the coaching staff made, but just very shocking to me.
Well, Jordan Hall, a tremendous young player from the Rochester Nighthawks, but when you have that combination of Doyle and LeBlanc who play together all the time, spinning, fires, scores! Powell to Matt Ulrich, and they give each other a little point saying that's what we worked on, that's how it's done. And the U.S. pulled it within 1. Have a look.
Great pass. Casey Powell. It pains me to say it because I'm a Canadian, but I truly feel he's the best player in the game, indoor, outdoor. Whatever, anything with a lacrosse stick, he is the best, and that's, I love Junior, I love Colin Doyle, they're great players, but Casey Powell, what a great pass. Matt Ulrich spins and shoots. Matt Vince, no chance on that.
The Canadians lead cut to 1 again. Just when you think Team Canada's starting to run away, the Americans come back, and the effort's usually started by Casey Powell. John Grant Jr. Pass intended for Sanderson. Gets picked up. Ball bouncing high. Sanderson. You want to talk about speed and floor presence. Josh Sanderson can get to anywhere in the blink of an eye.
I agree. He's a little guy, small in stature, but he's got a great shot. He's got a great heart.
Jeff Zawicki, Reese Dutch was at the top of the crease. Couldn't find him.
I'm still trying to figure out who I would sit instead of Steph LeBlanc, Andy. I know you bring up Jordy Hall, but and I mean you can't really sit John Grant Jr., Colin Doyle, Josh Sanderson, but I don't know. I think Steph is that dangerous, that important to this team. I don't know. I might have to sit down one of the veteran guys, and I don't know how well that would go over with them. Maybe that is another reason he's not out there.
That could be. Well, Stephen LeBlanc, no sophomore jinx for him in the NLL. 33 goals. And a large man, too, Dan Dawson-esque, as he gets forced back out. Dawson, 4 on the shot clock. Off of 1 foot, has to let one rip. And Schiller jogs over center. Tosses for Boom Boom Buchanan. Paul Rabel creating some traffic. And look out, Casey Powell. Ulrich, the screen. Too far out, though, and Vince sees it. Under 10 minutes here. Reese Dutch gallops to the left wing. Reese Dutch, one of the most dangerous sidearm shots in the world. Sanderson trying to set up. He's forced back to the line. Using another full shot clock is Canada. 4 seconds now. Sanderson being pushed around by Hodling. And it is a 30-second violation. We see the confidence growing in the U.S. defense. And let's talk more about that when we come back from the 10-minute break. The score, Canada 7, United States 6. And you're watching the 2011 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. World Indoor Lacrosse Championships are brought to you in part by Lacrosse Playground, the only website dedicated entirely to lacrosse equipment, apparel, and lacrosse lifestyle. Visit www.lacrosseplayground.com. Andy McNamara. with Chaka Bainbridge. 8:53 in the third quarter. 7-6 Canada. U.S. feeling it right now and pressuring. Gives to Mundorf underneath. Vince somehow.
Great save there. Vince came up with a great save when they needed it. Sean Morris walked in alone there off a great pass from Brendan Mundorf, and Vince closed the door.
United States have changed goaltenders twice. Miller, then Henhoff. Vince on the way to the bench. And Vince now going back in. Not sure if they thought there was a penalty. I don't see an arm in the air. Well, maybe that did just enough to confuse them.
Yep, Reese Dutch once again.
Hat trick.
Hat trick for Reese. One of the young up-and-coming players we talked about earlier. I throw Jordan Hall in there too. You know, they're probably in their early 20s. Great players. Another great goal. Reese can score goals. That's what he does.
So his 10th of the tournament. Jordan Hall, 6 goals, 7 assists in 2 games played. Hodling scampers back to pick up the face-off. Him and Merrill have been going at it and exchanging face-off wins all game.
I think, Andy, the closer U.S. keeps this game, it's in their favor going into the fourth quarter. They have a lot of athletes on their team.
Casey Powell going around. Left alone. Roy Smith bullying Rabel. Dan Dawson heads through the face-off circle, gives to Zawicki. Zawicki makes a move to the net, pulls back. Colin Doyle calling for it. Captain gets it. Grant Jr. Canada whipping it around. Well, Chris passes underneath to Doyle. A bouncer, though. Then gets set. Snaps it.
So all the USA has to do is keep it close. They can't let this score get away from them here in the third quarter. They want to keep it close going into the fourth.
They've battled back twice. Ryan Langtree hearing some boo birds here at the HC Slavia Praha Arena. See a lot of the Czech fans out, a couple of some Canadian flags. They're very thankful, of course, to Jim Veltman, their head coach. One of the big reasons they will be playing Iroquois in the other semifinals. What a story that is. We'll talk about that in the next game. That's following this. What a day of action. John Grant Jr.
It just gets better and better.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to that Czech team. They're a great team. I didn't know much about them. You're right, Jimmy Veltman, he had them ready, and they look good.
They play as a unit as the shot clock expires. For that Czech team, they said there is no superstar, so to speak. There's not a Casey Powell. There's not a Colin Doyle. They play as a unit, and you saw all smiles and hugs, and this place coming alive.
It's a brilliant atmosphere in here, isn't it, Andy? When they play, they have their chants going. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, the Iroquois Nationals actually lent the fans one of their drums to help bang. I think they might take that back for this game. USA, Canada, Rabel with the head fake. Has to send it back, though. Going 5-hole, Vince standing strong, and the Americans settling for a lot of perimeter shots right now.
Yeah, they gotta attack the net here. Matt's just too good of a goaltender to just keep shooting open shots where he can clearly see it. They gotta throw in some screens or attack the net, try and draw some penalties, something like that.
Colin Doyle here, spinning. Behind the back, intended for Zawicki. Will he come up with it? Boy, is he being hacked, and Canada will send that into the fan club zone here. That's my check for the day.
It was a poor effort, to be honest, Andy, but that's good for trying. I won't even try.
Right. We'll have a lot of Czech names to say in the next game. Casey Powell over the top, and that's the screen you were talking about, Chaka. Not working, though.
No, I think he got a stick hit a little bit there. The shot was way off.
Langtree in with Casey Powell. Sets the pick.
That one was close. He went for the short side there, just missed.
And Casey Powell trying to take this team on his back, maybe relying a little bit too much on him as Canada is now starting to hone in.
I agree. They can just start double teaming him if he does that. We haven't heard much from Rabel, Drew Westervelt.
No.
Even Brendan Mundorf's had a pretty quiet day so far.
Exactly, off the chest pad of Miller. Goaltending has not been maybe one or two iffy goals, but certainly solid all around. That is the area where the U.S. does suffer against Iroquois or Canada doesn't have a solid number. One, diving, pushing in the crease. Sean Morris going for it.
I agree, but you're right. The goals have all been legitimate goals. I don't know what goalies would have stopped them if these boys in that now wouldn't. So
they're tough offerings by Canada. Colin Doyle might do it himself, and he does. Faked it to Jordan Hall. Skips it in front and underneath Miller. Colin Doyle breaks free.
Yeah, I think actually Miller got a piece of that. He might want that one back. Just as we say they're playing good, Colin Doyle, wide open shot from there. That's a tough save, but Miller did get a piece of it there. Just the shot was too hard, went through him.
So Colin Doyle, the captain of the Toronto Rock and Team Canada. So much leadership on this Canadian team. You have assistants, Dan Dawson, Brody Merrill.
Yeah, I think they must have about 3 or 4, even 5 captains of the NLL on this team.
Captains, assistants.
Yeah, Brody Merrill's a captain in Edmonton. Colin Doyle, of course, in Toronto. I'm not sure if John Grant Jr. is in Colorado, but he might be.
And Dan Dawson is
Dan Dawson, of course.
Yeah,
he's a captain in Boston.
That's right. Up on Matt Vince. And almost a similar situation. Casey Powell got his first goal. It squirted free from Vince and nearly came out of the crease. Jeff Zawicki strides up the floor. 3:35 to go in the third. Missing Miller.
It's not maybe Jeff Sawicki's strong point there, trying to beat guys one-on-one. He not that he's slow, but he's better, more a crease man, catching and scoring goals than trying to take guys one-on-one.
Paul Rabel goes in, Westervelt behind the net. Cannot guess to Westervelt, bouncing off the glass into the Canadian boards. Going right on. And stoning Sean Morris as Vince. Canada quick on the transition. 9-6 Canada. John Grant Jr. Watch out for him. He has a hat trick. Just when you think he won't shoot, he does and scores. Jeff Zawicki finding a lane. Bouncer, and that was just wide. And Canada will get possession back.
Yeah, I think the ref thinks that it hit Miller there, which it didn't. So unfortunately, USA loses possession. And just as I said it, Jeff Sawicki tried to prove me wrong by taking 2 men to the net and almost scoring there. So
Canada has the ball back. John Grant Jr. has it knocked free.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No, and then over a back call.
Teammate versus teammate there. Jared Park and John Grant Jr. teammates in the Colorado Mammoth of the NLL, and great defense by Jared.
Well, Jared has been one of the most ferocious defenders in this whole tournament.
USA really needs something to go right here on this possession.
Trained by 3, Langtree, who's been dynamite in a couple of the games. Even in the Iroquois matchup, he was a force, has been held largely to the outside. Molesky underneath, Pat Merrill. Trying a little razzle-dazzle. Primarily a defensive transition man.
Yeah, I think Jeff Molesky and Pat Merrill there got a little bit giddy with the free time. They probably should have held that one up, but good on them for trying.
It's always great when you see a defender get an open break. You can almost see them salivating, thinking, all right, now I got one.
Yeah.
Casey Powell here, open, and almost.
Wow, yeah. I don't know how that stayed out. I saw the net open up there and maybe just missed it or hit the post maybe.
Well, an interesting shot selection by Powell. Instead of going to the side, fell over the overhand almost. Trying to fool Vince. Didn't work. Jordan Hall dishes. Sets a pick. Gives to Hall. Doyle underneath. Wow. Give and go. Doyle. Hall.
Reese Dutch. Number 4, Reese Dutch. Great.
Jeez.
Great starting sequence. Colin Doyle. Great pass to Jordan Hall. Tic-tac-toe. Miller. Nothing you can do about that one. All starts with Colin Doyle. Great pass.
And Hall could have scored. Decided to dish it instead, and that really any of those shots could have gone in, or shot selections could have gone in, but goes to Reese Dutch. Assist to Doyle and Hall. Colin Doyle with yet another beauty behind the back pass. We're at 1 minute 15 left in the third quarter here in the first semifinal game. Iroquois and Czech Republic coming up after this. Brendan Mundorf. We talked about being quiet, one of those players that needs to step up for the U.S. Mundorf going after it. There's Langtree. Canada will take their time as we are under a minute to play. And the Canadians leading by 4. Jeff Zawicki back to the point. Dan Dawson rumbling in. Over the top. Did not work. They seem to be liking that shot selection as it has beaten Miller on a couple of occasions.
I just want to mention something, Andy. I just saw John Grant Jr. run for a loose ball, which I probably haven't seen in about maybe 5 years of watching John Grant Jr. play. And it's nice to see the old fella still has some legs to try and run after loose balls.
Oh, yeah, the sniper. When called upon. This will most likely be his last WILC.
Well, that's a great thing too, Andy, I think, is these guys all love playing for their country on both sides. So, I mean, it means a lot to them.
That sidearm was fired by Dan Dawson, sent back the other way. In the third quarter, comes to an end. Canada in the lead by 4, but still, anything can happen. We will take the break, come back. The fourth quarter, and you're watching the 2011 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships.
Patronem mistrovství světa v boxlacrossu je Synod Tip. Partnerem mistrovství světa v boxlacrossu je Magistrát hlavního města Prahy a nadace Terezy Maxové dětem.
The World Indoor Lacrosse Championships are brought to you in part by Gate Lacrosse, outfitting many of the teams at the 2011 WILC. Gate Lacrosse equipment is engineered for the toughest players in the game. Visit www.gatelacrosse.com. It is go time here at the HC Slavia Praha Arena. We are in the fourth quarter. Canada versus the United States. Andy McNamara alongside Chaka Bainbridge. And Chaka, we need to see from the United States, if they want to stay in this one, the next goal must come from the USA.
I agree. If Canada scores the next goal, I think it'll be time to pack it in. I mean, it is a game of runs, but they do really need every loose ball counts even more so now.
Who wants it more? Who needs it? The United States falling in a heartbreaker to the Iroquois in the final game of the round robin, allowing the Iroquois to get a bye to today. U.S. having to earn their way in by thumping the Aussies, 28-2. That was yesterday. The United States may be a more well-oiled machine than Canada, who haven't had a meaningful game yet. They certainly haven't looked out of place. Oh boy. Hey.
Wow.
Just as we say that, Matt Vince, who comes out of his net, is talking to the defense, saying spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
Mundorf scores.
Oh, brilliant shot. I'm trying to see if he did get screened. Yeah, he shot it right around the defender there. Great bounce shot from Mundorf. And they, like you just said it, they needed that. They got the next one now. It's going to be down to the wire, just like I said. As long as they keep it close, they got a shot here now, and they need these loose balls. Here's the problem.
Belisle fighting for it, as is Sandy Chapman. Canada scoops it up.
Rubish.
The U.S. were down by 3 goals earlier and managed to claw their way back. Can they do it again here? Down by 3 one more time.
U.S. got lucky there. Kyle Rubish, he's a loose ball machine. He got it, and he kind of threw it to a guy that was subbing. So the U.S. got the turnover there.
We're just over 9 minutes in before the first goal was scored in this game. Things have been kept relatively low goal totals for this tournament. Rabel making a move, trying to back his way in. Sends it to the line. Casey Powell. Angle.
Oof, just missed that one. Casey Powell had a spot picked. He just missed it.
And pushing and shoving, rolling on the mat. Remember, in this tournament, if you are caught fighting, you will be tossed from the entire tournament. So players haven't checked their ego at the door. Rory Smith and Brendan Mundorf rolling around. I wonder if some of these grudges will be brought into next NLL season and maybe say, hey, I couldn't touch you at the Worlds. How about right now?
Yeah, I think, especially with a guy like Rory Smith, you might want to think twice if you're going to take a liberty with him here.
Yeah, well, Rory Smith getting his first goal in about 7 years, we were told, in this tournament. He was all smiles, and bodies starting to fly here.
U.S. come up with it there. Hotel and their loose ball machine for the U.S. team. So both.
Ulrich makes a move. Might have had a shot, decide for Buchanan instead. Westervelt drugs on the floor. 3rd overall score in this tournament, calling now first for Canada and in the entire WILC to date. Canada, long feed. Zawicki, too hot to handle. He had Jarrett Park on him. Hartzell nabs it. A good crowd here. Almost evenly split between Canada and U.S. fans.
Yeah, I think as the time ticks down here, Andy, fans are getting on the edge of their seats.
Yeah. Park makes a move. How about that? And actually, that was Rabel.
Yeah, Paul Rabel splits the D. Great move.
Whoa.
It's getting a little bit chippy out here now. And actually, we got, might be Rory Smith down for Team Canada. I didn't see what happened there.
Rory Smith. Let's see if we have a look. So Smith 42 on the screen.
Yeah, Kevin Buchanan hit from behind there. That's
yeah.
Just as we were saying, will things spill over? I don't know if the next time Minnesota plays Boston, if Buchanan's playing next year, if Rory will forget that one.
Well, Roy Smith's still down. Those collisions from behind so dangerous. And we'll have to see if Buchanan maybe gets 5. Well, Buchanan's not getting anything right now.
Sean Morris is heading over to the box. I don't know.
The official's right there.
Yeah, and they just called the wrong guy here. Clearly, they thought it was Morris. He's behind there.
See the collision. Head on head, snapping Smith's neck, I think, on Morris. I think that in combination. So Sean Morris taking a seat. Should have been Buchanan. It'll only be a 2-minute. As Roy Smith is gradually getting up. Good opportunity, Chaka, to thank our tremendous volunteers and organizers for this tournament. These guys have been working 12, 14-hour days for weeks upon end, and here today over 60 volunteers doing shift work, and what an amazing experience it has been for both of us, for the players. They've done such a great job.
And the crowd gives Rory a bit of an ovation there. Good, classy crowd. You might hear some boos when the guys are playing, but it's nice to see still good sportsmanship in this tournament.
And especially from teams like this Team Slovakia, like the Australians, they feel privileged to play individuals and athletes at this level. So they learn so much. The Slovaks very humble, as are the Czechs, but the Czech Republic They're not just here to play anymore. No. They're here to compete. They're here to try to win a semifinal. That's coming up after this. 12 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Canada on the power play. Leading by 3. Grant Jr. blind pass, back to the point. On and turned away easily by Miller. No big rebound. Sanderson, quick return. Colin Doyle steps, plants. Oh, and that's found a post. Had Miller beat. We'll go back to Canada. They'll be working their offensive special teams for another minute 30. Grant Jr. Couple behind the back passes as Dan Dawson is shoved from behind. Canadians setting back up. Little low toss.
Good loose ball there by Matt Zash. And great save by Eric Miller.
Yeah, and Schiller. Miller from Schiller. Schiller helping up Sanderson. He pinned him down for a moment. Brian Langtree with possession. Rubish stalking Buchanan for Canada.
Right here, Andy, I would get Drew Westervelt the ball and let him try and take a man or two-man one-on-one. He's a big man. Try and just force the issue. You never know. You might get a holding call, but...
Well, try that or go for that shorthanded goal. You're trying to run down the clock and kill the penalty, obviously, but 11 minutes left. You're down by 3. You need
to score.
Yeah, you need to creep back in.
See Freeze Touch will fire from here. Oh,
he does. Dawson setting the screen. Ball into the crowd. 22 seconds remain that the United States have to kill. Behind the back, how'd that happen? Hey, Jeff Sawicki to Colin Doyle.
Yeah, I think they just lost track of where Doyle was.
Did they even think the play was starting? I don't even know.
Blew it in. Colin Doyle, lose track of him behind. Eric Miller wasn't ready, just jump around.
Wow.
Good veteran play.
Yeah, you strike when the opponent is least ready. And they did just that. Zawicki to Colin Doyle. Doyle's second on the assist. Zawicki's second assist. And Hodling without his helmet was thinking about going back to the bench, but Canada almost broke free. Sanderson cycles down low. Big Dan Dawson at the top. Canada with a lot of momentum here. Weak side for Sanderson. Sanderson and Langford, very similar players. Small, quick, dangerous. Bouncer, Miller grabs it. Here's Kyle Hartzell, the Washington Stealth. Gives to Casey Powell. Arguably the greatest player in the game today. Some Team Canada members would have issue with that, I'm sure.
I was just going to say, not arguably, Andy. I stated it, so I guess I got to live with it. But you are right. I'm sure a few guys from Canada would definitely have something to say about that.
And the helmet comes off on
Jeff Molesky there.
Yeah, Molesky. He's touching his nose, I think, looking for blood. And Rabel saying, well, Rabel's going to the penalty box. He disagrees. This is exactly what the United States do not need.
That's right. I didn't actually see. Let's see if Rabel is a guilty man pleading his case, or he actually...
It's a shove.
I see, he's pushing, and it's hidden a little bit.
Well, they call it the elbow, it looks like.
Comes up a little bit high with the elbow there, I suppose. It's hard to see in the scrum there.
Yeah.
But,
and maybe because he knocked the helmet off. See Coach Tom Ryan with the glasses looking very intense on the U.S. bench. And we'll also step aside for the under 10-minute break. 11-7 Canada, who will go on the power play. You're watching the 2011 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Action back underway. Canada on the power play here at the HC Slavia Praha Arena in Prague. Dawson scores!
Nice set play there, right off the whistle. Dawson comes in, curls in off a pick, and finishes it. Grace Dutch lays down a pick for him. Catch from Doyle. Finish. Too easy. U.S. just cannot take ill-advised penalties. You got to stay out of the box. You know, there's still enough time to come back.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not doing themselves any favors by going to the penalty box, that's for sure.
Well, Scott Ditzel a half step behind Dawson. That is his third. And after the first two almost identical goals Van Dawson got in the first quarter or first half, the U.S. paid attention to him, and Dawson pulled back. He's saying, hey, don't forget about me outside the crease.
Yeah. I mean, he can do that, right? He can take a back seat, let save his legs, let Colin Doyle have a quarter, and I mean that's what they can do when they got such great players.
Two Bulls locking horns. Pat Merrill scuffles it free.
And I will venture to make another bold statement here, Andy.
Okay.
I would say the best left-handed Canadian player isn't even over here in John Tavares.
Wow. Well, that's a great point too. Another stellar veteran. Ball intended for Zawicki. He falls. Mitchell Belisle, and that's how dangerous Canada is. One of the best ever is not over here, and you still have this team.
Yeah, I mean, the list can go on and on. Defenseman of the Year, Billy D. Smith, he could be here. Mark Stainhouse was originally on the team. Great transition scorer. He got replaced, I believe, by maybe Chris Corbeil or one of the late entrants.
Shot right onto Vince.
Sean Williams, another great Hall of Fame caliber player. I think that's the hard thing with Canada is, I mean, you do have to make a team at some point, right?
There's so many. Garrett Billings of the Toronto Rock, another option.
You're right. Brilliant player.
And yeah, the seemingly ageless John Tavares, not here. Ooh, and getting tomahawk chopped up high, Jordan Hall, as he soared to the net. No call.
That would have just been disastrous, Andy, if they did make that call. They could have. It was disputable.
12-7 Canada. And speaking of the number of players, Chaka, 79 players. 79 wanted to be kick saved by Vincent. Nicely done. Whoa, and a crushing blow to Carnegie. That came from Mundorf.
Yep.
Referees are letting them play.
Tim's getting a little bit chippy here.
But they had more than 79 players were bidding for roster spots. They were scouted through the whole NLL season, and the very best were picked to play in Prague. Dan Dawson finds an open lane. A man that size, how he becomes invisible and just sidesteps his way in is amazing.
I'd say his little brother is another possible candidate for this team on defense. He's really come along since he entered the league as a goaltender.
There's a break. Jack Reed. What a job by Rubish. Tying up Jack Reed. It'll be U.S. ball, but Kyle Rubish, tremendous to take away a goal without having to take a penalty.
Yeah, great speed to get back. He's a great defender. He's a young kid, and you're right. Could have taken a penalty there to maybe save a goal, but didn't. And still stopped the play.
Another bright light for Team Canada down the road. Mundorf gives it. Westervelt has been held in check. Has a nice opportunity. Matt Vince up to the task. Hard, crisp pass. U.S. trying to light it up. Westervelt went through the crease. Wasn't caught, though. Mundorf.
Yeah, they're not going to get it done, Andy, taking shots outside like that. No one in front of Matt Vince. You're not going to score on him.
He'll have to penetrate. And we saw after one goal, Matt Vince telling his defenders, one of the Mitski, spread out a little bit when the shooter's in that spot so we can see.
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy with if he can see
Dawson,
them.
toss, jumps, and scores. Dan Dawson. Little triple jump there.
Yep. You know what? The start of the game, Andy, I was going to say he got those two quick goals. It's Dan Dawson's game, and just when I did forget about him, now he's got, is that his fourth of the game or fifth?
That's
there?
His fourth.
So He's the closing the game for Team Canada.
Yeah.
So
13-7. The Canadians starting to pull away. Do the U.S. have one last rush and run in them? Can they come back? 6:14 left in the game.
yeah, they definitely need a surge here. They need the next goal, just one at a time. They don't have to start getting too crazy just yet, but they do need to start putting some in the net.
One goal at a time. It's a cliche, but it's very true. Jarrett Park for the U.S. dishes it. The United States on transition. Is this the time? Casey Powell says enough is enough. Here's Paul Rabel going to his left. Buchanan to his right. Down to Mundorf. Powell in the low post just outside the crease. Bouncer. Mundorf.
Oh, just missed. Was open there too.
Yeah. Had a few inches. And the ball coming back. Officials trying to get things organized a little bit here. .525 remaining. Jordan Hall. Who's a big boy too, deceptive. He's slender, so he doesn't look as to have the size of a Dan Dawson, but he's a big guy. Doyle with the pick. Behind the net. Going through the crease, coming back. Dawson with another hopper.
Great
Eric
save,
Miller
Eric Miller.
blocks it with his face.
John Grant Jr. got away with walking through the crease
Yes.
there as well, so that'd be a bit unfortunate, but great save by
Rush,
Miller.
Mundorf! Huge save.
Yep, Matt Vince up to the task.
On a block though, Rabel blocks it. Carnegie scrambling, U.S. Starting to pressure now, and they have to. Matt Ulrich had a beauty goal earlier. Casey Powell.
Yeah, they got to start pulling the goalie here, which they do.
Powell has a pair.
It's in.
Wow. And Casey Powell, that is the X factor Casey Powell brings. Simply overpowering Matt Vince with a sidearm hurl.
Yeah, great shot. Look how far away he is, too. He's just a brilliant shooter. Picks a spot, fires it. Matt gets a piece of it, but you're right, just too much firepower there. And you know what, I hate to say it, but they really should be, Casey Powell should be taking the majority of their shots down the stretch here, trying to draw double, even triple teams, and that's when you dump it to the Matt Ulrichs, the Brendan Mundorf, Drew Westervelds, but it all should start going through him. It might be too little too late here, Andy, but they got to try.
Well, Drew Westervelt, another one of those players who has to step up. He had 4 versus us versus the Australians, 0 today.
Yeah, they got to. Another thing, Andy, there's no urgency. They got to run in and off the floor a lot quicker than this. 4 minutes is not a lot of time.
No. Goaltender pulled.
There you go.
Right
again.
back. Casey Powell. And we mentioned a player who can single-handedly take a team on his back and go. Who better than the assistant captain, Casey Powell.
Again, he takes it down. I've seen him do this 100 times. Rolls back up, shot, great bounce pass. Bounce shot, excuse me. And Matt Vince, I mean, you got to watch Casey Powell. If I'm Eddie Como down there, I'm telling, shut off Casey Powell. Don't allow him to come back into this game. And Matt Vince takes the player's time out here.
Yeah.
The old equipment check.
And not a bad idea to try to stop the momentum.
Yep.
Because Casey Powell, they've been keeping him to the outside, which with most players is a positive. Casey Powell, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he can do it all. He can score inside. He dive across the crease. He's got a great shot on the outside. Very accurate.
Casey Powell, 7th overall in points for the tournament coming into this match.
7th overall, Andy, and that's with probably playing one less game,
Yep.
I think, than most of the other guys on
That's
that
right.
list. So
He was not dressed versus Australia, which was a 28-2 romp.
where he could easily have had, that 22 goals. I'm sure he'd have his hand in a few of them.
Oh, yeah. You better believe that. We are at 4 minutes to play in what has been a fantastic semifinal. Canada with the lead. Zawicki scores! Jeff Zawicki on the fast break.
What a great catch. That's what Jeff Sawicki is good at. Catch and score. That's his game, and what a great catch. I don't know, is it Brody Merrill? He's one of the best outlet passers.
Look at him reach back.
Yeah, great catch. It wasn't the greatest pass, or maybe Jeff didn't wait for it long enough, but great catch, and he sure can finish.
No doubt. Jeff Zawicki reaching back, grabbing it, and that could be the nail in the coffin of the United States. Canada will take possession here also. So Jeff Zawicki, his 3rd point, goal, 2 assists. Give Brody Merrill his 1st point. There's Brody Merrill again. United States trailing 14-9. Reese Dutch to Zawicki one more time. Bounce pass. And that was for Josh Sanderson.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Good pass, Zawicki to Sanderson. Good stop by Miller, but then Canada gets the loose ball back. Josh Sanderson staying with his miss.
And we saw Casey Powell, 2 straight goals. Looked like the tide was starting to turn. And now the Canadians allowed to eat up another 30. Looking for Dan Dawson down low. He spins back.
And that's probably the best defense they can do against Casey Powell is keep him off the floor, right, Andy? I mean, if
Sanderson scurries up. Knocked free.
Ooh.
Wow. And that is a nasty crunch by Matt Zash. Colin Doyle up with Zash here. And this late in the game, Canada looks to have things pretty much tied up. You don't want any injuries. Look at Zash.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it looks, I mean, it didn't look all that bad. I think Zash probably is pleading that Josh took a little bit of a dive there. Josh did look over his shoulder, but he's a wily veteran. Oh, he's going for diving too, I believe, actually, Josh Sanderson.
Wow.
So they didn't let him get away with it. So they must have believed that the push Zash gave him wasn't all that bad.
Right.
I was going to commend Josh for selling them on it, but
gets caught as well.
Yep.
Josh Sanderson, the Boston Blazers. Matt Zash in the box for the U.S. Canada will look to use up another full 30 on the shot clock. Captain Colin Doyle gives to Dan Dawson. What a combination these two have been in this tournament. To the weak side, Canadians moving the ball well. Reese Dutch. It's picked by Schiller, who read that play like a book. Well done, Schiller.
There you go, Rabel's out top, he gets the ball.
And Rubish, Rabel spins away, dives and scores! Bringing the U.S. to double digits.
Yep, good move by Rabel. Probably a little bit too late. There's only 5 possessions left in the game. Really nice move. Takes Rubish, who's a good defender. Great goal. But unfortunately, I think the USA is going to run out of time here.
Well, Paul Rabel, his first of this game. Rabel's had a solid tournament, coming off of another great NLL season with the Washington Stealth.
Yeah, he's just been getting better and better every year, Andy. I mean, I've watched Casey when he came into the league. He's improved to a point where now, as I said, it pains me to say it, but he's one of the best, if not the best. And Rabel's along the same lines. He's gotten better every year he's been in this league.
Dawson with the fake, does it himself. Went glove side. Coming back, United States galloping in. Here's Morris. Park screen skipped.
Good
Morris
recovery.
Westervelt there. He's trying to get free. Casey Powell again. Kick
Left
save. A minute 43. U.S. down by 4.
Yeah, they got to really press the ball. You get all your athletes. Hartzell's one of them, and you got to press the ball.
18 on the shot clock.
Cut off the passing lanes, and that's it. Schiller, I can't see who that is there on Reed Stutch, but that's what you got to do. You got to pressure the ball and cut off the closest man.
Right, that was Mitch Belisle. Canada sending it in at the 2-second mark. In time, ticking away for the United States. I would assume, and we have Henhock in the game as he jogs off.
Yeah, I think they're just switching back and forth because, I mean, they got to sprint on and off, and they're at the far end of their net there, Andy. So I think they're just switching off now, the goalies.
Keep an eye on Buchanan at the front. U.S. behind the net also. Powell gives to Rabel. Mundorf behind the back. Beautiful! Standing tall as Matt Vince. Rabel snaps up the rebound.
I don't know why they're giving that to Canada. I don't think Rabel did anything illegal there, but they saw something I didn't.
And we are under a minute to go.
Goalie's out here now for U.S. They got to really have 2 on the ball. And who's that? Molesky finishes off the game there.
To give Molesky with a goal. That is his 3rd of the tournament, so an empty netter.
Not really certain why USA didn't have 2 players on the actual ball. You see down here Bilal and Schiller guarding a man off the ball, but maybe they just didn't have time to set it up. I mean, obviously 43 seconds left.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have mattered, to be honest,
Right.
Andy, but
Canada leads by 5. What a semifinal start it has been. Here at the 2011 WILC, Chris Schiller, the captain, gained some time on offense for a moment.
great save by
Stick
Matt
save.
Vince.
Matt Vince with the highlight reel scoop.
Really got to give a lot of credit to Pat Merrill in the face-off circle tonight, Andy.
Yes.
Just gave a lot of possessions to Canada. I said at the beginning of the game, if USA wanted a chance, they needed more possessions than Canada, and I'm pretty certain they didn't have that.
And we are under 10 seconds to go. The Canadians will fight for gold one more time and get to defend their crown. It is over. Canada defeats the United States 15-10. The U.S. will play for bronze in the loser of the Iroquois-Czech match coming up after this. Wow, what a game. Chaka, we saw physicality, we saw aggressiveness, we saw back and forth, the U.S. tying it up twice. But in the end, Canada's firepower, just too much.
Yeah, too much. Unfortunately, I think it really would have helped the confidence of the U.S. if when they did tie it up, I don't believe they ever took the lead. If they took the lead,
right.
They might have got their confidence going. But it's still a great game. I think all the fans in the rink, people watching at home would have loved that game.
Yes.
It did start out defensive struggle. First 9 minutes, no goals. End up with a 15-10 game. A lot of goals, a lot of really pretty goals. And you can't blame the goalies. They all 3 of them, because the U.S. used 2, all played great. And hats off to Canada. You're right, they had too many guys this time around, but I think the U.S. played great. And as their president told us earlier, they're just improving. You know, the smaller nations, they're getting better, and they're trying to get up that ladder. USA, they're looking really good to me. I think they could have won today very easily. They just Canada had a couple more chances, a couple more goals, missed opportunities for the U.S. They missed on a couple of power plays. Canada capitalized on them, and that's what happens, right? Ball didn't bounce their way today.
And I think when you mentioned the goaltenders, that is a great sign for the United States, especially the play of Jason Henhock when he came in. Eric Miller, this is definitely his last World Championships. He was asked to come back, took a little bit of prodding after being out of the NLL for a couple years. He has played a very good tournament, but Jason Henhock, and if they can add one more key goaltender to take away that if factor, in 4 years' time, the United States could be battling for a gold medal instead of for bronze.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You know, the game is growing so much as well. Indoor is now kind of spread to America. Traditionally, it's a Canadian and native game.
Yeah.
Of course, myself, we all grew up playing when we were from 4 years old indoor, as opposed to later in life we moved to the field game. And America, you're starting to see youth programs. There's one in California, Colorado. People are starting to build indoor games. They see what it does to your outdoor skills.
That's right.
The next step along to that is getting goaltenders starting from an early age as well. And you're right, you're going to see USA for years to come. As soon as they have more people playing than Canadians in indoor, Canada's going to be in a lot of trouble for the rest of the eternity of lacrosse.
Right. So, the United States, the two-time bronze medalists in 03 and 07, will go for the same medal tomorrow. Coming up next, 7 o'clock Czech Republic time, that is 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time in North America. It will be the Iroquois Nationals and the Czech Republic. And just wait till you see this HC Slavia Praha arena come to life. Good crowds from Canada and the United States. So that will wrap it up for this match. Come back in just about under an hour now The Canadians advance to the gold medal rounds as they defeat the United States 15-10. For Chuck at Bainbridge, I'm Andy McNamara. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the 2011 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships.
Patronem mistrovství světa v boxlacrossu je Synod Tip. Partnerem mistrovství světa v boxlacrossu je Magistrát hlavního města Prahy a nadace Terezy Maxové dětem.